Hello, everyone. I just something was laid upon my mind this morning, and that was the focus of my post. It's called Palace Credentials, and we have prayed about the month of August, and we're trusting God that it will be a time for us to repossess, to restart, and to have a great time bringing into fulfillment every word that God has spoken and to fulfill our goals. Our attitude to work is very important. When we're younger, you were told to make positive confessions, you're going to confess the word of God, and so on and so forth. But very little emphasis is being laid on our attitude towards work these days. Those who have understanding know that your attitude makes a world of difference. And so, specifically, if you are a Christian and you are at your place of work, you know that how you do your work matters. Joseph was a slave. He was in the house of Potiphar. He wasn't being paid. He didn't have any hope of promotion. He didn't have any hope or expectation that things were getting better. But whatever his hands found, he did diligently. How do I do my work? How do you do your work? When somebody says an opportunity has become available and they are considering people, let's say a list is brought, and they bring your name, what will be those things that will be said that will be a plus or a negative? When you work for somebody, do you just do it because at least I'm salaried, whether I do it or not, it doesn't matter. I get paid at the end of a month. And if you work on commission, maybe once you hit your target, you're like, that's it. How do you do the work that you do? Diligence propels you forward. The book of Proverbs, chapter 22, verse 29 says, Seest the man diligent in his work, he will stand before kings and not mere men. When you see when you see people at the bottom of the ladder making a difference, doing whatever they're doing with so much joy, it calls attention to them. Many years ago, when I started at a job, we had this young man. He was a janitor, but he was so dynamic, outgoing. He will see the EVP. He will chat with them. He'll see that, hey, buddy, how you doing? How's your day been? And all of that. And so everybody knew him. What we didn't know was that he was a graduate from his country. He was just trying, but he didn't speak a lot of English. But over time, because he associated and he was always friendly, he started picking up on the English language. And after a while, one of the EVPs was like, you know what? I need to, what do you need to move on? You require, I mean, you will be able to function more than a janitor. You're very social, you're very dynamic. And they brought him from the position of a janitor. They hired him and he started working in an office. Yes, the man diligent in his work. He will stand before kings and not mere men. When I carry out my work, for those who don't know, my work is tasking. It's physically tasking. Sometimes you're dealing with difficult patients. Sometimes you're dealing with difficult family members. Sometimes you're just dealing with difficult people all around. But you need to understand that why do I do this? I do it to bring glory to God. Somebody says, you don't even know my job. My job doesn't have any prestige. I can't even tell people my job. Do you think Joseph was able to tell anybody what he did? But it didn't matter. When we look at the story of Ruth, Ruth didn't even think about what is better than picking up grains. That is below poverty level. But she said, you know what? At least we will survive. We will not die. And she did it diligently. It was at that place that she was noticed. What will cause you to be noticed at your place of work? Everyone who occupies a high position today, go and look at it. They've held an insignificant role, but they've distinguished themselves, and that's why they have risen through the ranks. I used to have a manager. She does her work very meticulously. And I said, I just wanted to know, which school did you go to? She said, Lara, I only have high school and the other trainings that I've gotten on the job. I said, what? She said, yeah, I finished high school and there was a position in the bank and I applied. And so she's risen through the ranks because of diligence. It's very easy to say, well, yes, that's true. Especially for those of us who are in diaspora, there is a privilege that people have because either because they're Caucasian or whatever. But I have also noticed that when you are qualified, when you do your best, people can't argue with results. So whatever it is that you do, when you put the spin of excellence on it, when you put in your very best, it doesn't matter whether people like your face or not. Once you know what you're doing, they will have to deal with you. They will have to relate with you. So the Bible talks about adding, add to your faith this, add to your knowledge this, add to this. And so it's important for us to improve ourselves at our place of work. If you're a cashier, what is your disposition? Sometimes you drive through and the cashiers are looking at you as if, why are you bothering me? What are you here to today? Even if you have your own business and you talk to your clients as if you are a bother. Maybe because there's so many people, you're like, there's too many people. The reason why you're in business is because those people are coming. And when I go to work and there's so many things and I'm like, oh my God. And I say to myself, if our census drops and there is nobody here, then they will cut back on our hours. And so when you understand the importance of your work, the reason why you work, and what your work does for you, it would allow you to adjust and to change your disposition. Your attitude towards what you do reflect in your productivity. Remember, Joseph was a slave. I mentioned that already. But he improved himself. He distinguished himself through excellence. Shortcut. I remember a few years ago, somebody told me, said, the way you do your work, you'll be there permanently all day. There are so many shortcuts to it. And I'm not talking about not working smart. It's important to work smart, but don't take shortcuts. If the shortcut will hurt somebody, don't do it. When you're at work, don't do shoddy work in the name of I want to finish quickly, because it comes back to bite you. Those who take shortcuts in life get stranded because there really isn't any shortcut to life. Have you not seen people who say, oh, I want to get rich quickly? At the end of the day, it doesn't work. It may work for them for a period of time, but consistent hard work adds up. When you see people, they move from one level to another consistently. I had a friend some years back, she used to work at McDonald's. And she said, that's it, I'm not going to school, I'm not doing anything. But I discovered that she was diligent, she was always at work. She may not be a millionaire, but she pays her bills on time and she lives a comfortable life to the degree she desires. So whatever you do, remember that hard work pays. Greed. Greed leads to waste. It leads to loss. One of the things that I discover is that, for example, maybe you just relocated to maybe the diaspora, and you see someone who is riding a brand new car. They've been here for 30 years. You just relocated 1 year ago, and you're like, yeah, that's the kind of, except you brought in money, except you were made where you're coming from, and you relocate with that money, and you're able to do it and continue life. Most of us have to integrate into the system. Most of us have to start from somewhere. Nobody's asking you to go and start at the bottom of the ladder, but it's important for you to know that it is important for you to start from where you are. What does that mean? It means you know where you're going, you set a goal, but diligence is what you do. You make sure you follow the pattern. How do they do things here? You just come, maybe where we come from, the country where I come from in West Africa, God bless Nigeria. You're allowed to, if you dog, if you know man, no man, if you know somebody, you can move up quickly. But here, if you move up quickly and you don't know how to do things properly, it will bite you in the nose somewhere. So hard work, when you integrate, start from somewhere, learn the system, improve yourself, and rise through the ranks. For example, if you are a nurse, if you don't know how to insert IV or how the medications work, you don't know how to do those things properly, and you become a manager, it will show quickly because you will not be able to navigate the system. You won't even know how to administer your office. And the same goes for you. If you say, I want to become a manager, managing who? Managing what? A few years ago in the bank, we had a crash, a system crash. And it took the older generation, the older men who are like EVPs, the very senior guys, who had to come back to paper and pen, the way they used to do things in the olden days, before they restore the system to keep the banking. That particular bank had a problem. They were the ones who knew how to do it, and they were the one who were able to restore order. Most of us, everything is computerized, but those older men knew how to do pen and paper, and they were the one who saved the day. It doesn't matter where you are. Make sure you learn the basics of what you do. Because by the time you rise through the ranks, you will be an inspiration. You'll be able to help other people. But if you pay your way, you maneuver your way to the top. When you get to the top, you will not have the right foundation. Sometimes God helps us. God will save you from the embarrassment of starting from the grass, from the ground floor. He will help you maybe midway, but it is important for you to reinforce your foundation, to make sure you add knowledge to whatever you have. Make sure you are the best at what you do, and on a daily basis, seek to improve yourself. Seek to improve yourself. For those who are in business, you know that once you're shining and you're doing it very well, somebody else comes with a new idea and they're ahead of the game. And if you don't improve yourself, you'll find out that you are going to be at the losing end. You are not working, you don't have a job. That's right. Nobody owes you. People don't like to hear that because they feel, oh, you are mean. No, nobody owes you. You owe it to yourself to work hard. Everybody in the Bible who are examples, patriarchs of old, people who have succeeded, even in our present day, they are people, when you ask them, they have a story, they have a beginning. Anybody that is doing well today will tell you their story of where they came from. Nobody just emerges on the scene. Nobody just appears and then they're successful. Effort goes into success. Effort. You wake up, you do it, and when you consistently do something, it adds up, and that is what. And when God's favor shines upon it, he causes it to flourish. He causes it to blossom. As God's children, nobody's holding us back. The devil doesn't have what it takes to hold back our blessings, but our attitude, our dispositions, sometimes will be a hindrance to us moving forward, to us advancing in life. So, do you have a work? Keep that job. Put your very best effort on a daily basis. Now, when I go to work, I say to myself, this I will put in my best today. I will smile my way through, no matter how challenging. I will smile my way through, no matter who I have to deal with, whether co-workers, whether patients, whether family members. I will make sure I do my best. And by the time I look at my 12-hour shift, before I could say, Jack, 12 hours, I only have 5 hours left, and then three, and then two, and it's time to go home. And that is your disposition towards your work will show, it will bring you joy, it will bring you peace. Sometimes I hear people say, oh, you are lucky. Nobody is lucky. If you have an inheritance and you don't know how to manage it or to work with it, you will in no time squander it. Was it not the prodigal son who said, give me my inheritance, give me my inheritance? He told the father was like, come on, I'm still on his side, I don't care, give me my inheritance. He went and squandered it. And by the time life taught him a tough lesson, he came back. We don't have to wait till your life teaches us a tough lesson, but add to your knowledge, improve yourself, make sure you're moving forward. And for those of us who maybe you're watching me, maybe you're not working and you're like, okay, I've been asking that big sister of mine, that big brother of mine, that uncle of mine, that cousin of mine for money, and they're just miserly. If you don't know, if you don't have a job, go look for a job. When you begin to work, the story changes. I mean, let me use the example of my children. My children, when we're coming back from church on Sunday, we'll just maybe buy hot chocolate if it's cold. We'll buy hot chocolate or just some treats. And we'll always, what would you like? What would you like? And everybody will place their order. And so last year, one of them was working, and so we'll say, who's buying for us? Somebody will say, well, I'm buying coffee, I'm buying tea. And so we were all placing our order. And when they rang, when they gave us the amount, the total for our bill, my son was like, that's beyond my budget. And I laughed. I said, that's how we've been, everything that you guys have been buying too is beyond our budget, but we pay for them. So it's your turn to pay today. So it takes working to know the value of money. If maybe you've had people throwing money at you, they're not helping you. It's when you start working that you know the value of money. And I want you to know that diligence takes you to the palace. Diligence, hard work. When you have, there's dignity in labor. Don't let anybody look down on whatever you do. Whatever you do, as long as it satisfies you, as long as it puts bread on the table and it doesn't dehumanize you, go ahead and do it. You can only go higher. And on that note, I would like to say thank you for listening on to me. Palace credentials, keep improving yourself, keep adding to yourself. You belong at the top and you will soar. God bless you. Bye now.